C'est parti.
How greedy of me.
This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. That's Farina, right over there.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Give up, Farina. I'm sorry. But what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless apologies over and over? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina, it's just us.
So it is you, blonde.
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your face are obvious.
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. The show at the Opera House earlier this morning was so moving. I'm still trying to process it. Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were, disturbing my enjoyment of the arts? They even dare to tout their archon. I must teach them a lesson. I can just imagine their twisted and frustrated faces once they realize that I'm nowhere to be found. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Maréchal Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too. Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just... that's against the rules.
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to...
Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the...
What?
Hurry, they're almost...
Fine, I suppose. Hey. I merely gave it. You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening?
Yeah.
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to...
Yeah, but the people of Poisson... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy. I once had informants all over Teyvat. I've tried all kinds of ways too, but all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. Give up. Indeed. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? But just now, it all became clear to me. As long as the final moment has... Don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. I got the... Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let...
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you...
share my That's impossible. It was fated a witness. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you'll... if... I...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my open... Now, without further ado...
So, this is what... Do not forget, however, that I am Fosalor, the god of justice.
May I interpret these words as your refusal? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She...
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an archon
Wow.
Lady Farina, what is...
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuses again!
I raised my hands just now to indicate... I will admit that I'm sorry. You are not the only ones to be But now, it is time I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world that this time... Applaud and rejoice. Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine!
Woohoo!
Oh, now we're making...
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this...
All right, then. Who will...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Also, please allow me to ask, Nazif, just how much work did you do?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, so we arranged for a second group.
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance.
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of...
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's part. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion also that as soon as I appeared on the stage...
Yes, that is...
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding... As for you, traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with... You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor. Oh? It's fine. It matters. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during...
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here oh, let Paimon see. Wait. Then that means this document is a perfect... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something for... Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro... The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on! Nervilette. Just fast forward to the part where, of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for first...
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I... There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine...
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super...
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be... See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the god of justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims...
Well, I tried to give... And if I was not the...
That doesn't sound right. First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow...
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You...
A curse. I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally... But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervilette?
Lady Farina...
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart. Just...
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have one need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this...
doesn't sound... You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you at...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult.
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current... While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before... You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real
Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is...
She's still throwing out all...
My power as...
If that poses a concern...
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith. Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with...
Isn't that...
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power eat...
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please, I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one, please.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed...
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents?
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence.
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her now? That doesn't sound right. It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and...
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area, including those... So, Miss Farina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, but if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to... I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler...
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian.
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard...
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is...
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Hey! I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now?
Miss Siegewing, if you're present, Miss...
Siege?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few... That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation.
As everyone doubtlessly saw,
Miss Farina was displaying she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved!
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of this. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't...
I can't believe... Listen to me, everyone! Think about it! How can you conclusive... Also, if I was really just a human... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your...
Oh la pauvre, elle s'est fait abandonner.
I don't think
Ah ouais.
anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final... According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also
Isn't that correct?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: to be punished via...
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought...
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've...
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, is this sentence really appropriate for the...
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice!
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today would... But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of...
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! Huh, you finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission, Father.
Is that the first prophecy slip? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates.
Huh? So what do you see?
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, so when you say Hydro Archon...
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until... However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other... The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous... Does that mean that... Fontanian? The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their... The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we?
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women
Ça, c'est la
that
première.
Fontanians
Maintenant, faut
can be
trouver la
dissolved in
deuxième.
the first stone slate. This might be...
That doesn't sound quite...
Perhaps what it... And the...
That doesn't sound quite... That doesn't...
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, the stones... The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society. The fortress of... If we have...
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now, but then it feels like...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of the...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that but she probably angered. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged
The Hydro Archon's true sin.
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon with it.
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy... In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, however, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been... When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the... Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative record... I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to... Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the... In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become a... However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the... But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how...
So we were all...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death? After all...
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water, they have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water... You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others, who... Therefore, the meaning of... That the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of... Yes, it refers...
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption... As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe... This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that...
The truth, the original sin.
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it is true. That whale does not belong to Teyvat. It is a monster. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids...
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its...
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case...
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely... From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the...
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we... Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy,
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. Even if the entirety of Teyvat were to be destroyed, it could still survive.
We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true cult. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the...
Indeed. That's not how a grand...
I'll fight it to the end. No matter...
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been... Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives, ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what...
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is...
You are not Farina.
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that...
Fusalo. Why did you
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. The heavenly principles.
Deceiving...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused. When that problem was... She knew full well that the prophecy would end as one of the seven. She also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible... I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I had to outwit the heavenly principles. Allow the I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume, although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, after becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human, she could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in any way, so then I could— all part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly— Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace— I suppose now you probably understand why your court is—
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other. I cannot begin to—
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 5, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely.
One with nature.
Oh? Who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, all right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your— Oh, do not jest. I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon— Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon.
Vraiment, je dois combattre?
By ordinance divine.
Pour éteindre les projecteurs.
Embrace the ice. My wind strider.
Billowing surge. Hold the line. Yeah.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know.
Ah ouais.
Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
One with wind and cloud.
Ah ouais, je dois vraiment combattre. Ah d'accord. Ah, c'est fini. Et là, je dois faire quoi? Avancer sûrement? On va aller jusqu'à la boîte. Oh! C'est passé quoi?
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're... Mirror me?
Mirror you, huh?
Mirror me.
The prophecy.
What prophecy? Wait, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain.
Oh.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember.
Yes, it will. And that is why.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist. I will tell you how to save everyone.
Oh, so there's still... As for the suffering, well, but if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? If there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side.
I suppose this would also be the just...
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you...
Play as...
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying the...
But how will I do this? A human...
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real... Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already remember. Your true challenge will not be pursuing...
I'm still not sure I understand. So, how long am I going
to accomplish this mission? You will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will, but I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent
trial. Huh. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but what should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, ladies, and I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of... In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power. Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggest this should do. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully I was...
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the difference between her and an ordinary person, then?
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play the role. Calm down, Farina. Think. What do the people want? How would they imagine a god to assertive, with a strong sense of presence? One who... Now, I was
wondering, if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim owner... Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my... You may consider my previous act a door gift of sort. Now then, let it...
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera?
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, no, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. The scales of... May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the future of... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to... There is no trouble in this world so long as I...
Yes! Oh, yeah!
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just... Besides, none of these trials were...
If I may be so impertinent...
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine...
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. All right. Deoteria, is it? How is your son?
You remember? He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. You're such a gentle and wise god. Thank you.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of...
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, all manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also...
Really? Have they found any...
I'm afraid that they...
Is that so? Well, no wonder. This...
On va tous les faire. Ah ouais.
The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine. All right.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of...
There'll be no need for that.
Lady Farina,
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed. I don't think I let anything slip today. I feel utterly exhausted.
Lady Farina, it's like I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was
And what a fine family yours isn't.
Are you crying?
Uh-huh. Really? This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the...
No wonder. No wonder.
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. I never imagined, have I? I want to tell someone, anyone I've conducted. All I can do is keep heart. I must...
Ouais, il y a beaucoup d'années qui a passé.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right...
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, just share it with me.
A witness. Yes, I've heard that you... And if Tevat is in its entirety... He's right. I could confide in, but if things don't play out as expected... No, Farina, you shouldn't be selfish. But what if... Farina, you've worked so hard for so... Is it such an outrage? If you let this opportunity think about it long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am... All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance.
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once...
Yes, it had to be done. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these it seems that trusting humanity...
I believe that I understand how your deception works. But that is... How would you build on this foundation to save the people of...
Ah, good, good. Of course the Eudex of Fontaine has... I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine.
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice. It now seems that that person was you.
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would. Alas, your understanding of this. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the oratories take down. I mean, did you think I would be the sort? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate, but really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the vast majority had to be accumulated.
It was all a part of your plan, then?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontanians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not...
Returning what's rightfully... In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro... Oh, what? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice...
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, Hydro Dragon, I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge that Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea and the heavenly principles. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And speaking of justice, I have always believed that. So, if the theft of the primordial sea, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontaine. In other words, existence was Egypt, defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people. At this point, Iudex Nervillet, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power.
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, at last. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside you are a deep... Things being as they are. Surely you know that I could never declare them to be...
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervillet. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Judex Nuvelet, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just... Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved,
It's time to end this. We must...
Didn't you say just a moment ago that
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, we should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me meet the root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name... Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution.
C'était quand même impressionnant. Waouh.
I've already done my best to separate the power of the primordial sea from the wave. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. We shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together.
En soi, j'ai pas la meilleure équipe. Teaming feu, ça aurait été mieux.
Sorrow turning into hostility.
hold the line.
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself.
What's that holding thingy over there? It looks really scary.
Yeah, Sakura Swirl! Take your true form! Do your master's bidding!
Allow me, Covenant of the Deep.
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
My apologies! Wind Strike! Manifest!
Hold the line.
Waouh. C'est impressionnant.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup.
It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder. I suppose I'll have to swing my sword 3,000,000 times.
That power. Who are you?
Paimon has an idea. From what it's just that he gave us the impression that she was less tough.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an that kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pets. All in all, it fails as—
Miss Skirk?
The point—
Well, being that this pet— so what sort of person is your master? Well, child's master—
Oh, right. So you don't know him. His name is Sertologi.
I am unfamiliar.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How—
The foul?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary?
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine part of the Hexen Circle.
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all— But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine-daughter.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person? Paimon?
Actually, never mind that. I believe that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its— Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most likely— In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now—
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has...
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey! Help! Over here!
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
The prophecy was wrong.
Bon bah on va aller dans la nouvelle zone du coup. C'est parti. Voilà, on est enfin dans la nouvelle zone. On va aller au TP là-bas.
Let's move out.
Ah mince, faut que j'aille vers le haut. Bon bah let's go.
Let's move out.
C'est par là que je dois aller, ouais, je crois bien. On va vérifier. Ouais, c'est par là. Direction par là.
really peaceful. Huh? Look, there's some footprints over there.
Waouh.
These look pretty fresh. Did the water imp get someone again? Let's look around and see if we can find anything. Wait, did you hear something
Salut.
just now?
Paimon? Traveler? I'm sorry.
Oui, et toi?
Paimon, are you...
Paimon nearly mistook you for a...
Huh? A water? Thelxie, you...
Huh? You know that name too?
No. I think our situations are Sure, if that's it. I know the name because of one of my employers. She noticed the clockwork penguins I brought to the workshop. Following her request, I've named the toy.
Huh?
Moi aussi.
But is...
Yeah, but, it's alright though. She'll...
Huh. Even though you...
The fish? Ah, these past few weeks I've been taking... So, all...
So that's how it was? That actually...
Yes, I think...
So in the end, it was just Framine. Paimon spent all this time imagining...
I'm sorry. It sounds like I've created a lot of trouble for everyone else as well. Thank you.
Actually, how much work do you still have?
Thank...
Hey, it's no trouble at all.
But... Don't you need to report back to...
Nope, that's not how it works. If we tell them now that it was all... Exactly, so if...
Huh. I've stored Thelxie in the tent. He can respond to some simple verbal commands.
Pas de soucis à toi. Merci de m'avoir suivi.
See if he'll come over.
Si tu veux lâcher un petit like et t'abonner, n'hésite pas. Il y aura d'autres vidéos prochainement. Bonne journée.
Yep. Had Thelxie lived in Penguin Town, he'd probably have become great friends with Pear. It's not really...
Hey, Felxie. Nice to meet you. Do you...
I wanted to install a language output module, but as it stands...
no need...
No.
Merci, à toi aussi.
I have two other...
That doesn't...
The others shouldn't take too long either.
A weapon?
Mm-hmm.
What an imaginative...
Well, regardless of his role or species, Whoa,
Felxie just said something again!
he can react to certain...
That's a pity.
Sounds good. Ah, here we go. I have this testing manual. Want to give it a try? Okay.
C'est quoi un jeu? Oh, c'est marrant comme jeu.
You're... Then let's move on to the underwater part. It's... Oh, speaking of which, you're both... Okay, that's good. The wind knows me.
Je suis juste allé à la statue pour ouvrir le chemin. Voilà, comme ça on va beaucoup mieux. Bon bah du coup maintenant je peux retourner à mon point. C'est parti. Je vais retourner à mon point. Là, il y en a un, on va le prendre. Nickel. Voilà. Et maintenant on peut retourner à mon point.
Time to go.
Je dois aller là-bas. On y est presque.
It should be right over there. We'll be able to find something that'll help us with our search. This is it. We call this thing an echoing conch. It can detect special. Did you notice any interesting places? The echoing conch should have detected some just now. Let's go check them out.
C'est par où? Par là.
All right, these should be enough.
On retourne à l'endroit prévu. C'est parti. Je dois parler à qui moi? Là-bas.
Ah, Fremine, you're back.
I'm sorry, Madame Distress.
There's no rush.
Oh, they're two of...
Yes, I see. I suppose it's only natural.
It's really nice to meet you, Madame Distray.
Greetings, my new friend.
Oh, do you really...
Of course.
Obsessed with...
Ah, so you...
Well, Fremine told us...
I see. But it would be quite...
Sure, you can...
Ah, what a love. Simply put, parents came up with a story. Painting water imps as scary abduct...
Infatuated?
Yes. He told...
Huh.
Thank you, little Paima.
Oh, no. No!
The family doctor...
Huh?
Uncontrollable delusions.
Then...
It's a dream that he often mentioned to me when he was...
Amazing. You're...
But perhaps no...
How could the story end like...
Well, it'd be more...
My poor child can no longer differ...
perhaps...
What? So...
Alas. Most of the time, he acts as if he can no longer sense or interact with the real world at all.
D'accord.
He once wanted to
Sinon, c'est quand je peux continuer mon aventure. Je crois qu'il me reste des quêtes encore.
The disorder progressed too quickly.
Ah, so Zuri's son also saw Felxie as a penguin. Oh, he looks so sad.
What we should do now is help him complete this picture book. We'll need to chase a...
But if we just need to finish the picture book, why does Fremine need to...
Because we need to treat the book story serious. But...
Ah, like a...
There are some ruins.
Oh, so we'll...
Sadly, no.
So we'll be playing...
It's all right. There's no need to... Keep your spirits up. We temporarily moved to a place on the hill over there, so my son will have a better spot to convalesce. It's not far from the water, and there's also...
Understood. There's also one last thing.
That's great news. I'm... All right, everyone.
serious shit.
Let's...
What is it?
If things don't...
Fremine!
It's not that I'm not optimistic. No, they say end from the cave.
What? Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah! After all, we'll just be...
Well, but if we can help him
Oh, Paimon sees what you're saying now.
Well,
What Penguin Town? What is... Hey, what is...
Anyway, and Pear?
Pear?
Well...
Fremine,
No, I don't think so. I can still differ. It might just be...
Specific...
Yeah.
Really?
Have you ever observed the surface world from underwater? It's as if you're viewing a whole different world from the outside. I have a
Really? Like a...
Well, if that's in order.
Hey, don't you still need time to work on Thuxie's...
Right. Thanks for all of your help. I'll be off for now.
Pour continuer le mode histoire, en fait, je dois faire d'abord ça. Bon bah, c'est parti alors.
Huh? Isn't that Charlotte? What could she want with Lapine?
Pretty please with it. I read that a gang of criminals tricked the Gardamex by disguising themselves as... I've invested all my savings into graph adversarial technology. I'm begging you like the beggiest.
Okay. I need you to calm. I admire your passion for your research, and I don't mean, but I'm afraid I'm not.
Oh, Paimon sees what... Sounds like the report Lapine Pauline read in the Steambird wasn't it?
Funnily enough, I actually remember being in a meeting where the editing team was debating the potential risk of but to our surprise, they
Après
fully
cette quête, je
supported us
pourrais
printing
relancer.
it. They figured that the false intel would... In truth, Gardamex are extremely sophisticated in their capabilities. They can... Since we ran that... So I knew this...
Uh-oh. So Lapine which means we're not...
Traveler! Paimon! You're back! I was in the area taking some photos for... She was hoping I could write an article to spread awareness about image recognition technology. She even paid me for the article and gave me one of her prototype devices before I could get a word in. I unfortunately had to dash her hopes, and I'm afraid all your hard work was in vain too. She's desperately trying to find a way to rescue the project and get you the Mora you're due. I've tried...
This is a new situation for us, too. It's such a pity.
It's... Wait. Miss Lapine Pauline? What are you doing?
I'm gonna pick a fight with a Gardamex. Head to the... That way, I won't have to repair...
Whoa! There's no need to go that... Actually, instead of going into the... Okay, well...
Not anymore. It's not just my... My life is...
Don't despair, Miss This prototype you've given me. The camera lens for image recognition, the rapid focal length adjustment is a very useful... So your research... Absolutely. So keep calm, take heart.
I can't... If this is true, then... Oh, maybe I should...
Come on! Stop daydreaming!
And I can probably speak to some people I know and license my image recognition device. There's no time to lose. I need to get to work. Early bird gets the worm.
Eh, parle vite.
Can you believe her? Paimon's pretty sure our advice went in 1 ear and out.
It's understandable. Want inspiration but don't you worry. I'm gonna write an article on all this. Her research has the...
It's reassuring to know that you'll be...
Actually, it takes the right person.
Thanks a lot. No bonus, nope.
You're welcome. The boundaries, but yes, that's how I'll phrase...
J'ai pas tout compris. Non, pas du tout même. Mais ça va venir. Il n'y a plus de blablabla. C'est fini. Allez, laisse-moi finir cette... Ah, ça ressemble au machin de la dernière fois. C'était une genre de quête où tu devais combattre des monstres avec des petits monstres. Ah, faut refaire ça? Ah bah oui, sûrement. Et on a un peu plus. Bon, on va prendre quoi? On va prendre ça. Ça. Ça du coup. Ça. Et ça? Pourquoi pas? C'est parti. Ah ouais. Ça a l'air un peu... Voilà, sans commentaire. Ouais, c'est pas terrible. C'est bon? Est-ce que c'est fini? Oui, c'est fini. Allez, Nouya. Allez, on continue. Je dois aller là. C'est parti. Mince. Voilà.
The soil renewed. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom. Skyship wing. The various people always call the first. Wow, Paimon barely recognizes the people in the.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The value for these big scoops. Edwin's assistant, Jurier,
Paimon's curious,
and that's exactly. Oh, this time we'll.
Oh, it's you.
What?
Hey, we're just having a look around.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going here.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. He represented the Knave in sending us Our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone, work is progressing nicely.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote, but if you don't mind...
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible. Or would you be willing to feature as friendly neighbors?
That would be fine.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction material.
Huh?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision makers. And...
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before the duel. About what it was like facing down a god. There's lots of excitement.
Forget it.
I see you're the...
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few...
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone...
How did it go? Was it a good...
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news, and freshness is the key. Also, not to brag, but I'm pretty good at building connections. Who knows? I might eventually get that interview.
Wow, you really do have that.
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Maripede.
Whoa, you're well informed. Let me make a guess too. I asked Sijuin, who told Monsieur Nervillet to...
That's a very complete...
In truth, all Monsieur Nervillet asked me was, when did the fortress become so... I told him that it was best not to speak too soon. There's no guarantee that
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them. In which case, I'll be making a move first.
Stay safe now. And tell me if you hear...
Wow, fun, huh? There's a real nostalgic feeling to this place.
Looks like you've been missing us.
Duke! Did you come all the way to the entry?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom our good head...
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke. Thank you for consenting to my visit to the fortress, sir.
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of your interview.
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to be so... Miss Charlotte,
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear...
Sir, please don't say things like...
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it.
No, I just... This is my first time
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. And I'll be honest, the boat that brought about a miracle, the ark that saved the people. Why, you recreated a myth back there, like an emissary of lead. Still, if I might ask...
Looks like Charlotte's trying to get herself in...
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of our factory.
Really? Well, then in that case...
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take another photo of this couple of research...
Did you really have to use the word... Well, then, two solo...
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help me have a...
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try the...
Ah, see...
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Why don't you... Sure. Come on, Miss Sujwain. Over this way. Let's...
Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the fortress?
Same old, as you can see. Fontaine's under...
Other than that flying ship, it got a tad too much attention, I think.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward the behind-the-scenes heroes. Am I right, Miss...
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you too should have your day in the sun.
I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh? Anyway, regarding that Harbinger, I'm not sure you remember...
He sure did win them all.
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems fine, and the bad being that they must face extended sentences for abetting...
Oh, actually, what about you?
What change can there be? The fortress will keep chugging along, and so will my duties. As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to the folk.
Hey, everyone! The photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day here.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next time.
Maybe. Who knows? All right. Last stop, the docks.
Ça rappelle au tout début de Fontaine, quand je suis arrivé. Le tout début. Bon, s'il veut pas venir, l'ascenseur, on va sauter, c'est pas grave.
Mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. Apparently, they've been at the...
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte, too.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget?
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around...
Trick a friend.
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by...
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your...
oh...
You sure are working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to...
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later Fremine himself. In the future, I think we can leave underwater escape magic to him.
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins with the first step.
Lynette, could you come over?
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of everyone the moment she realized I had some... Father says that you did a great deal during the latest events.
That's alright.
Oh, after Lady...
A diplomatic gift?
Yes, I was quite surprised. It could have been done as an apology. Furthermore,
That's true, but this is a gnosis we're talking about. Doesn't this seem...
I would agree, but I've also heard that... It seems that Monsieur Nervy... I suspect you'll have to...
but back to the...
They say that he's returned to Snesh...
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of run-ins with...
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the traveler by chance. Please do not pay my...
Are you going to take the nose...
That is our duty as harbingers. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. With such a grand goal, switching my masks is something Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds. As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision? All right. I'll remember.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh? You...
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are...
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our dear magicians, and I will... The sea breeze is quite pleasant. I shall continue my walk while the weather remains.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon, you take one.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I was giving out magic pockets when we first met, too. And I guess this must be... All right, then.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte off. Shall we go see how Nervalet's doing? As long as he's not so busy that he doesn't have time to chat with me.
Je pense que je vais devoir parler avec tout le monde. Là, on va parler au dragon suprême. Mais en fait, il est pas là, il est dehors. Il doit être devant l'entrée de la forteresse.
The entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there! So, you really are here, Neuvillette! I didn't think you were going to have free...
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. He took... In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out...
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remembered! Thank you for... Alright, let's have it then. How was Fontaine actually saved?
It is strange how words can often leave a bit...
Whoa. So that's what happened? Focalor destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you, transforming you into a... But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the Fontainians from dissolving.
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute control over... Fontainians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontainians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer be dissolved by water.
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come true. Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, Focalor finally managed to fulfill the original...
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume? I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so all I can do... As far as I'm aware, Natlan...
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect that I would not... Unlike ancient dragons, such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years of... Natlan is also the nation of war. There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiations with the harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hand...
The Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer. Seriously, everywhere you look, there's a Fatui harbinger.
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that your attitude towards giving away... We guessed that there might be some reason...
No one... So regarding this specific issue, I was just getting ready... In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on.
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal is... I can finally catch the scent of your power. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons. But with something very similar to a... I'm sure I've encountered something like this before.
I do not know what you...
Of course. You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never heard...
According to your...
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's... But I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that...
I've been training with my master, the Fowl, ever since I was young. And I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information I possess, it is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess it. Regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of myth. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies...
What do you mean by...
No need to fret. These are just my...
This third descender you refer to.
Master never mentioned them to me. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass the answer on to you next time.
Next time? You believe we will meet again?
I do. Wait.
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or not.
The remains of the... So that's what the no-sees actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces.
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is why you gave...
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary... I guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not expect that means that the no-sees, which are exceedingly element compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities. I wonder.
Like being able to use elemental powers without a vision. That does sort of count. No, let's not think comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this... Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of him. Or go look for his master and get the answers that way.
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking. The same is true of being at court.
Alright. Whatever the case, it seems like the crisis here in Fontaine's over for now.
Yes. All of Focalors' efforts were for this moment as well.
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god. And she's...
I suppose that would be the mystery. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes, life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. And what, ultimately, is the difference between the rains that fall?
Voilà. Cette fois, on a vraiment fini la quête archon. J'ai entendu parler d'un pays, un nouvel endroit. Ah, il y a une suite encore? Ouais, bah on verra ça une prochaine fois du coup. J'ai encore ça comme quête, ouais. Bah on le fera une prochaine fois. Bon allez. Je pense qu'on va s'arrêter là, parce que la quête était bien remplie en soi. Et on verra tout ça pour une prochaine fois. C'est quoi ça? Ah, des boules. Mince. Bon, bah c'était un plaisir, merci de m'avoir suivi. On se dit à bientôt. Shadow Big.